Hello, my name is Shikha and I'm a product manager here at Cisco. Today I wanted to show you the new feature we've introduced in Async OS 14.1 called Cisco Umbrella Seamless Identity. So this is a high-level architectural diagram depicting the connections between different participants in the solution. We can use this infrastructure and authenticate users on-prem using the WSA and pass this user identity information to the Cisco Umbrella SWG on upstream. The channel between WSA and Umbrella is of course encrypted. Thus, SWG can now use WSA to authenticate the users using different authentication mechanisms like basic authentication or NTLM or Kerberos, whatever, whichever one you want to use. Also, if you have some data that you would like to keep on-prem and not move to the cloud, for example, the financial data for users, we can achieve that. You can simply use the WSA to process such traffic and not send it to the cloud. So when a user sends a request to the WSA prompts the user for authentication. Let's say we are using NTLM. So the user will send the credentials to the WSA. WSA will then check with the AD and authenticate the user. It then checks the routing policy, and if the traffic is meant for SWG, the WSA will then add these new authentication headers for each request that needs to be sent to SWG. Please note that this picture does not depict the communication between WSA and AD. The packet flow will differ based on the type of authentication mechanism that you're using. So it's different for NTLM, it's different for Kerberos. So please take that into account. So the first step that we need to do in order for us to use this particular feature is that you would need to speak to your account manager and ask them to enable the seamless identity sharing on Umbrella for your account, right? So let me show you how to do this once that feature is enabled for you, right? Okay. So the first step is for you is to log into your Umbrella account to dashboard.umbrella.com. Once you log in to the account, you will notice that your URL changes to a URL something like this, right? If there is a number in between on that URL, this is called your organization ID. Org ID is what we call it. This is how Umbrella recognizes which users belong to which organization and matches their traffic to their respective orgs. You would need to make a note of this because we need this for configuring on the WSA. The next thing I want to show you is the networks. So under deployments, networks, I have these networks configured. This is where we need to register our network with Umbrella. So SWG expects your organization's traffic to come in with this IP address. I'm going to use WSA DMZ as my WSA will send the outgoing traffic with this particular IP address. The next thing I wanted to show you was that how to integrate your Umbrella with your Active Directory. So under deployments, you have configuration and then sites and Active Directory, right? So here on the right hand side, you have a download button. Just click that. You have Active Directory components. Please go ahead and download these two files and run it on your AD server. If there is any issue, you can refer to documentation online. I will be using this particular AD for my lab demo today. Let me show you the AD as well. So here, this is my domain and I have users. Once you download those two files and run them here, you will have a user called OpenDNS connector. Let me bring that up. So this is what I was talking about. So this is the user that will be created once you run those files on your AD server. Also note that I have a username called shgrover created for my lab demo today. The next thing I wanted to show you was the root certificate. So under deployments, configuration and root certificate, we have this Umbrella certificate. We want to, I will download this certificate, the certificate available on Umbrella, and upload this to my WSA. WSA is Trusted Root Authority. So the communication between WSA and Umbrella is encrypted. If you're using a CA sign cert, please download that and upload that particular one to the WSA. The process remains the same. Also, if you are using different certificates for different identities, make sure you download all that apply and upload it to the WSAs. This is very important. Without this, the feature would not work. The next thing I wanted to show you is under policies and web policy. I will use one particular policy I have created here for my traffic. So this is the one that I'm talking about. So if you look at rule set identities, edit here and see that my username is already added here, right? The other thing I wanted to show you here was the content categories that I'm blocking or I have allowed on this particular rule. It's a block rule, that's why I mentioned block. So whatever I select in this rule will be blocked because the rule action is blocked, right? So e-commerce and shopping is blocked. Please note that streaming video is blocked. News is not blocked. So I'll be using some of the examples from these categories to show you the lab today. Now let's move on to the WSA. So as discussed before, we downloaded the umbrella cert from umbrella portal. So this is where you need to upload it, network certificate management, and you upload your certificate here. Next in the configuration is you have a new option under Web Security Manager and Cisco Umbrella Seamless ID. Once you click here, I have all this information that I need to fill in. So it'll ask you for your host name or IP address that you want to configure, the port numbers that you want to configure to communicate with this IP address or host name. This is the org ID that I was talking about on the umbrella portal. So this is where you need to put in your organization's ID. Where would you find all these information? This is all available on the internet. I have this document here, manage proxy chaining. It tells me what port numbers and what is the host name or IP address and the port number, whatever you want to use. Port number 80 and 443 are used by default. However, if you want the port number 3128 to be enabled on your proxy, then you would need to contact umbrella support. We also have a start test which will check the connectivity between WSA and the host name or umbrella IP address that you configured here. It will check for the connectivity on the IP address or host name on all the port numbers that you add there. It will also check for it will also validate the certificate that you have configured. The next thing I want to showcase is under network and upstream proxy. Once you have done this configuration, for seamless identity, umbrella seamless identity, you will have umbrella pop up as an upstream proxy under network and upstream proxy automatically. You would not need to reconfigure umbrella as a upstream proxy. We have populated that information for you automatically. The next thing is how do we go ahead and route the traffic to umbrella, right? So Web Security Manager and routing policies. I have two policies configured here already. One is for HTTPS traffic and the other one is for HTTP traffic. So I'm sending HTTPS traffic to Cisco umbrella on port number 443 and I'm sending HTTP traffic to Cisco umbrella on port number 80, right? If you want to bypass certain policies, if you want to bypass umbrella, for certain traffic, you can use direct connection as the option. There is another thing that I want to show you, which is the format specifier that we introduced for this particular scenario. So under system administration log subscription, under access logs, we have introduced a new format specifier for you to identify if the traffic if the traffic was sent to umbrella, uh, did it have the identity sharing information along with it or not, right? So this is the format specifier. It will showcase ID sharing information in your access logs. Let us now go ahead and check some real-time traffic and if the rules on umbrella are actually being applied or not. So this is the proxy configured on my Firefox browser today, and these are my credentials. I showed you that SH Grover was the username configured on the AD. So I'll just sign in. I'll also start logging here on my WSA so that we can see if the ID sharing information is being sent or not. So let me try with Best Buy because shopping was blocked and there it is. YouTube streaming video was blocked. Great, it is working. And then let me show you bbc.com because news was not blocked, right? So that's working too. Great. So because this particular blog page is from Umbrella, so we can verify that this particular page is actually coming from Umbrella. As far as the logs on the WSA are concerned, I wanted to show you that uh, so this is for BBC, right? So this particular traffic was sent to Umbrella. So this is the IP address that you configured on the WSA for Umbrella. Also, this is my user ID that is being sent across. It's a news website, it's a news content categories website. I'm using basic authentication, and the ID sharing information is actually being sent around. So that's how you verify all this information from. Um, I also wanted to show you how this information will appear on Umbrella. So this is my Umbrella portal. So under reporting and activity search, I have these logs being generated here on Umbrella. So if I look at bbc.co.uk, because I just accessed that website, so it says allowed, right? So this is what I was talking about. So that traffic came to Umbrella and the action taken on it was allowed. If you want to see more information, you can do view full information, and you have all these: what policy is being applied, what is the host name, what is the identity source. So user identity source is mentioned. I told you about the IP address, the network that we registered with, so this is there, and other information that you would like to look at, right? We can also look at the information for YouTube, and the action was blocked, and Best Buy was also blocked. If you want to look at the full details, you're welcome to do so. All the information is right there. This brings us to the end of the video. I hope you find it useful, and if you have any queries or like to see this feature in action, please get in touch. Thank you.